hip-hop or Tachi Queen. You are Curtis, a beast heart. You must carry, cause MCs, they all vary. And seldom do they motivate. World full of hate. We serve a hope on a plate across different platforms. Let's hear a buffet, hydration like Boucher. Don't focus on a day, we always here for you. MediaScope when you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, go make them yours. What we run is Olympic, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. MediaScope when you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, go make them yours. What we run is Olympic, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. Now you award winning with no award tours. This culture meets the art. Podcast with the heart and essence of the growth. The power's in the people. Without you, we ain't equal. What we lack is ego. We're back now, so here we go. Run the show like Arsenio. Episodic, our rituals. Minds change through visual. Representation of our nation and its differences. Some explanation of our uniqueness and innocence. Mass media's intention is to desensitize. We raise the wise and knowledge is power. Without it, we turn coward and proud of a known product. Like we could take it with us. I wish the greats were still alive and here with us, but it is what it is. We're left here to share our gift, and that's precisely what we'll do with it. Shape shift and fluidly, we can pass this test and still in our unity, elevating through stress. Yes, MediaScope when you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, go make them yours. What we run is Olympic, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. MediaScope when you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, go make them yours. What we run is Olympic, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch.
What's up, everyone? We still got music playing, but now it's gone. Welcome to another week of everybody's favorite live stream about media, tech, and pop culture. This is MediaScope. We're here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on a bunch of platforms that we will talk about in just a moment. And my name is Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, and also a journalist. And for some, okay, there we go. Thank you, the MC Curtis. Yeah. So how about we show the one where they can see where we are every 6 p.m. every week, 6 p.m. No? Or not? Okay. Anyway, MC Curtis is up to his old shenanigans and his usual tricks. So thank you all so much for being here. I am super excited because we have a great guest on tap for today. His name is Ron Foster, and we're going to get to him in just a moment. But first, what's up, MC?
Not much. How are you doing?
I'm good. I really wanted to show we got some stuff going on today, don't we, with our little platform. I really wanted to show this for you, MC. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Also, guess what? We'd love for you to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're not here. And we have another one, but I don't see where it is right now. So we're going to let that go, and we'll show it a little bit later. That shows you all the deets of where you can find us. But if you're watching us on YouTube, we'd love for you to like and subscribe. And I forgot to give a hug. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for being here. You could choose to waste time anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us. And so we're great. So no dancing today, MC? No, you don't have a gig?
No dancing.
Your boots are still in the shop, are they?
Yeah. One of the dancers got corona, got the virus, and it's kind of nobody wants to come out and.
See, even when we have a guest, he can't act right. So
I'm not sure where they got it from, though. Was it the poll or?
You know what? We're going to stop right there, MC. We're going to stop right there. Anyway, let's say what's up to everybody who is watching us on Facebook. What's up, Facebook? Thank you so much for being here. If you are watching us on the Tubing of the U or YouTube, we are super excited to have you here. Thank you so much, YouTube. If you are watching us on Twitter, because some of you may be on Twitter, hang tight because sometimes I can't see the comments from some of the other platforms, but I welcome you. Thank you. And if you have a comment or question, make sure you put it on Twitch. I see you. Thank you so much for being here, Twitch. We appreciate you. Let's see, who else do we have? We also have LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you are here today. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, thank you so much for being here. Hang tight. I will get to your comments. It just is hard for us to see them on certain platforms sometimes. And
Yes.
if you, what MC?
Go ahead. My fingers itching.
Okay. Your finger is itching. Well, then let me get it out. If you happen to be one of the lucky individuals listening to us tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Gospel 107.1 FM, we wish you a multitude.
Ooh, got it out.
You needed it too. You need all the blessings you could get this afternoon, MC. We wish you a multitude of blessings and we appreciate you being here. Now, without any further ado, let's get to our guest because we have got a great conversation. He started it off, he warmed us up on Instagram, and now we are going to get to the rest of this. All right, let's go with the intro for our guest, please.
Lovely.
Ron, anything for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Foster, also known as Ron Lewis Photos on Instagram and every platform. Ron, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm excited. I'm just like, I'm beside myself.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I'm also beside you. So you
Yes, right.
and me beside you. So if in case you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, there is no such thing as I cannot make good connections through social media. You absolutely can, because this is how I met Ron. I happened to get turned on to his stream from some members of CQ. You all know I talk about CQ quite often. So I met Ron through CQ, and I was actually a guest on his show. Was it last week?
2 weeks ago. What? No,
Wow.
it was last week. No, it was last week. It was last week.
Well, thank you, because I have no sense of space or time anymore. So last week, I think it was like last Monday or something, I was a guest on his show and we had an amazing time. And now he is reciprocating and he's come on my show. Now he's been on 2 of them because he was on the pre-show right before this. Ron, once again, welcome. Folks, if you have any questions for Ron, please put them in the chat or, feel free to, put them in the chat because that's how we'll be able to see. And then we can put them up on the screen for him or I could read them out. So Ron, yes. Tell us a little bit. I'm interested in your journey through photography. So he is a photographer and he does a show daily called Touch Base Daily, which is awesome, where he touches base with his community, but he also shows us his wonderful photographs. So we're going to be talking about that, showing a few of his photos. We'll be talking about branding yourself through photography, the process of doing a live stream. But before we get to that, take us a little bit through your journey into photography.
Okay, well, first of all, my journey began when I was 16 years old and just kind of like running around the city or running around school in high school or in church with a camera, using my mother's camera, some little camera with a little spinner on the top, a little flash you attach to it. And then it kind of graduated. My pastor saw that I was running around the church taking pictures for the barbecues, the bus outings. And he said, maybe I should buy a camera for you. And so you can take pictures, better pictures with better equipment. So I ended up doing that, taking pictures of the church events, choir. We would be on the road. I would take photos. And that pretty was how it began. It was a hobby that kind of just blossomed, and then I stopped. I stopped, and I was like, just going on to my, school, college, working on Wall Street, busy, 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 and I didn't do it any longer. And then later in life, one of my friends was like, "Yo, you should play with the camera again." And so I picked up the camera and really started with my smartphone because it wasn't a smart, it was just a smartphone back when we had the palms. And I used to run around taking pictures of little things here and there. Then graduate to a Samsung phone. I was like, wow, these pictures look really nice. I'm out and about. I'm traveling in Europe, traveling in Africa, and everything. I said, I think this is pretty cool. And before you know it, the photo journey began to really take on a whole life of itself, by me taking photos, getting out into the world, photographing it. And then people saw my work and they were like, oh, wow, you need to put your stuff on Instagram. I was like, what's that? And I started putting it on Instagram. Well, I didn't really, I mean, I was in South Africa before I did that. And then one of my friends was like, Ron, you need to put a photo, put your photos outside, put them out. And then next thing you know, I started getting responses. People were
Wow.
like, where are you? Oh my gosh, these photos are great. And then one of my friends who's Nigerian worked for the airlines, and he said, Ron, we need to take you, we need to get back to Africa and do like a tour. Like you get in a Jeep and we just ride around and take pictures. And so that happened. Well, I thought he was just kidding, and it turned out to really happen.
It was real.
It was real. I went to my boss at my job and said, "Hey, look, I'm getting an opportunity of a lifetime to go to Africa, 5 countries, and I'm gonna be in a Jeep and in a couple of plane flights and stuff. But I'm gonna be in Africa for 3 weeks, and I have 5 weeks vacation. I'm giving you 9 months notice.
Wow.
Can I, put this on the calendar so I can be away?" And long story short, they said no. And I was like, wait a minute. I worked here 12 years of my life. I trained everybody on this staff. I am your lead person when it comes to our job. And I said, okay. And I realized they didn't appreciate me. And so I
Mm.
went and said, call my buddy. I said, book the trip. He says, really? They gave you the time off? I said, no, they didn't. He says, what are you going to do? I said, well, as soon as December comes along, I will hand in my resignation and begin my new life as a photographer.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so it was, and then opportunity happened. As soon as I did that, um, I was working in a retail space, and I had came back upstairs, was went to the floor, and a customer came over to me and said, "Hey, Ron, sorry, sir, could you help me?" And
Okay.
sure. And I go over, help he and his wife, and they're like, "We just moved to New York City. We need space." And I worked at a place that organized homes, and they were like, "We need help. We need help. Please help us." And I said, "Okay, you got me. I'm yours. I'm with you. I'm gonna hang out with you." Anyway, long story short, they said, "Ron," 'cause obviously now they know my name, and they were like, "Well, what?" I said, well, first of all, where are you from that you now have all this? You had this big space, and now you're cramming into a small New York space. And they're like, oh, we just moved here from Botswana.
Oh,
I said,
wow.
you won't believe this, but just 15, 20 minutes ago, I just booked a trip to Botswana to do some photography. And they were like, really? Ah, my wife, she was the ambassador to Botswana, and she can help you out. We're here because we've been reassigned to the United Nations here in New York. And I
Wow.
said, you got to be kidding me. And I was blown away. And he was like, if you need anything, you and your friends, here's my number, and we will give you some contacts in Botswana.
Mm.
And I said, wow. And I went
Wow.
into the bathroom and cried
Wow.
because I said, God is in this. This is where I belong. I made the right decision. I went downstairs, said, book the trip. Now I'm getting confirmation just 15 minutes later from this couple, strangers. And if it wasn't enough, the next day I came to work. I was working on a project, and this woman walks in. She says, "Can you help me?" And she said, "My daughter's moving to New York, and I need some, dorm stuff." And I said, "Well, where are you from? Where are you coming from?" She goes, "Oh, she's moving here from South Africa."
Wow.
I said, "Guess what? Yesterday, I booked a trip to South Africa."
To South Africa.
I said, "My journey is taking me from South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and then I crossed the bridge over to Zambia." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're going to be in South Africa?" Well, my family has been in South Africa for 500 years. We own a winery. We have this and that. And she's like, "You have to visit us when you come." And again, I was just like, wow. And my life began all this happened is how it continued to happen from March 1st to December 10th when I got on a plane and started my life as a professional photographer.
Wow. And
And
see what you're
I can
doing.
go over all. There's a lot that happened in between, but
Wow.
it was one step after another. What was supposed to be 3 weeks ended up being 3 months. I ended up
3
living in Africa.
months. Wow.
Yeah, and just one opportunity, one door, another door opened. It was just one door at a time, just kept opening. And I was at my friend's house who I was going to, I let them know I was going to Africa. I had just been in their house in South Africa when my friend who was from Nigeria saw all the photos. Well, now they're like, "Well, Ron, we're going to be in Africa too. We're going back." And I said, "Really?" And they said, "So have you ever been on safari?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Well, we have a ticket. It has your name on it."
Wow.
And I said, "What? What?" And he said, "Yeah, one of our friends canceled out, and we have a ticket, and you're more than welcome to use it." And I said, "How much is this going to cost me?" They said, "About 10 grand. I said, 10 grand for 2 safaris? Sold, I'm in it. And then I said to him,
Oh.
"You won't believe what happened to me just 2 days ago." He says, "What?" I said, I was talking to do this whole project, to leave and start my new life over, I had to refinance my home. I was like, how am I going to do this?
Wait. Let me stop you for a minute. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about 10,000 for the 2 safaris and you didn't sneeze at it, I was like, oh, he didn't sneeze at it.
No.
But in order to make this happen, you refinanced your home and you did some other.
Yes.
Talk more about that. Go ahead.
So what happened is one day, and I'll show you what relates to this story. So one day I'm in the house, and it's just like April, and I start taking these classes. I now made it a goal to go to every free class in New York City, every Sony event, every Adorama, B&H, all these stores that had free classes, because I knew I was not going to go back to college to learn photography. I said, let me go to every free class and learn as much as I can. I went through lunchtime. I went after work. I was totally diving into this photography. But what happened was I'm in roughly April, and I said, wait a minute, how am I going to finance this? How am I going to finance? I'm leaving my job in December. How am I going to finance it? I woke up out of my sleep, and something said, you have equity. And I was like, wait a minute. You have equity. And I'm laying on my pillow like, what? Equity. I have all this equity in my home. Well,
Mm.
let me ch- check with the bank and see if I can refi and get money out so I can have enough money to live for 2 years
Oh,
without working. So I mean, I'm going to work as a photographer, but
right.
in the beginning of a new career, you have to kind of like put money aside for every kind of thing that could happen. So what ended up happening is I went to the bank that was had a problems in the news at that time, and something said, they're not. I'm not going to refinance with my current mortgage bank. So I'm on assignment from my class, a Nikon class, and I'm in the park. I'm photographing this we call Afro punk here in New York City.
Yeah, yeah. Love
And,
Afropunk.
I went down there to just kind of like photograph the people and their looks and their Afrocentric, stuff. And this woman, she says to me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just photographing some photos." She goes, "Ooh, that's a good photo right there." Then she goes, "There's a good photo over there. And there's a good photo over there." And then I stopped her and said, "Are you a photographer?" She goes, "No, I just like photography. I just like watching you guys photograph things." And I said, "Oh, okay." She said, She goes, "What brings you to the park?" I said, "Well, I'm getting ready for my trip to Africa." She says, "What are you going to do in Africa?" I said, "I'm going to start my new career as a photographer." She says, "Oh, that sounds cool." She said, what are you doing? How you doing? I said, "Well, I'm in the middle of getting ready to refinance my home so I can, make this journey." She goes, "How you doing? What bank you're with?" And I gave her the name of the bank. And she says, "No, they will rape you."
Wow.
She said they will rape you and they won't use Vaseline. I was like, "No, this woman's
Wow.
crazy." I said, "This woman is crazy. Who is this woman?" She was eating her chicken and everything. And I was like, "This woman is crazy." But she was interesting.
Mm.
And she ended up saying to me, she goes, "I have a client." And I said, "What do you do?" She goes, "I'm a life coach." I said, "You're a life coach? What's a life coach?" She talks about life being a life coach. And one of her clients happens to work for a bank. And she was a VP of the bank. She goes, "Give me your information." She said, "Give me your number and I'll have her call you and you can set up everything you need with her." And I did exactly that.
Wow.
And the woman became one of my biggest sponsors of my work to this day.
Wow.
We're
Wow.
friends to this day. She literally helped me with my refi, did all the legwork, did all the hard work. All I had to do was read it and sign it. She went through the whole process. We went through, and it was amazing. So
Wow.
now I have this refi. So now, going back to 2 days before this safari question was asked of me. And so I'm saying to her, I say, "Well, I don't know." I wake up out of my sleep and something says, "You need $10,000 more." And I said, "Why do I need $10,000 more?" So then I give her a call. I say, "Hey, Jane, how will my mortgage be impacted by raising it by $10,000? She says, "Oh, it'll be just $12 a month on your mortgage extra." I said, 10,000. I said, "Something woke me up out of my sleep and said I need 10,000. Let's do it."
Mm.
2 days later, I'm in the car having this conversation with my buddy's husband, who tells me about the safari. And he says, I say, "How much do you need? How much do I need?" He says, 10,000. I was like,
So this is where
incredible.
that 10,000 came from. I'm loving you are a
Yes.
storyteller. So I'm thinking, where's this 10,000 coming from? And I'm sure the audience was as well. And here it is, that divine intervention that
Yes.
not only got you into photography, but also told you precisely how much you were
The
going to
price.
need
It was
to
the
make.
exact
Wow.
It was the
Wow.
exact number. I said,
Wow.
you got to be in my mind. I'm like ready to explode because I'm like, this can't be. I know it's happening, but in my mind, a part of me is like, this is this is real.
It's
This
real.
journey
Wow.
is real. This is really
Wow.
happening. And so I said, let's make it happen. I told him, you won't believe this, but I woke up out of my sleep asking, $10,000. I went and I gave him the whole story, and he was like, yo, this is incredible. And
That's
then,
fab.
but that's been my whole journey. And then during the summer, it gets even more interesting. My client,
Well, hold on, hold
yeah,
on. Before we keep going, because this is fascinating. I want to take this opportunity to welcome everybody in. If you
okay,
are just joining us, welcome to the fold. This is MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. And today we are chatting with friend to the show, my friend, and photographer extraordinaire, as well as the host of a show called Touch Base Daily on Instagram, Ron Foster, also known as Ron Lewis Photos. He's absolutely amazing, and he is captivating all of us with his story right now of how he got into photography. I'd like to take a minute to say hello to some people, and actually, so we'll let you finish, and then DS has some questions. You've already got questions. So let's see. Serena Wills is here. By the way, she's the queen of food truckery and the minister of libation. She runs the MediaScope food truck. Is it real? To
wow,
us, it is.
wow.
so welcome. Welcome to Serena Wills. And I'm sure we have a special in honor of Ron being here. She says, glad that you listened to your intuition. DS, who is our really good friend from YouTube, says, where God guides, God provides.
Yes.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and thank you for saying that I look great. You know, we have a guest today, so I have to look. Does that mean I look like chopped liver the rest of the time? Anyway, Susan Engels is here, another one of our friends on YouTube, and says, I love how his spirit guides helped him. Absolutely. And we do have a special from the MediaScope food truck. We've got a happy hour special. Buy one, get one half off all sorts of wonderful, tasty libations. So go ahead and get one because MC Curtis will finish them all if you don't. Let me see if we have any other comments before we get to the rest of your story and some questions. Oh, yes. After Dark with Johnny Ray is here, our good friend who does a show on Instagram as well, daily, like you. And he
Yeah.
says he is happy to be here. And he was joining us over on the Instagram side as well. So thank you so much for being here. So I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I
Oh
wanted
no,
to
not
get
at
in
all.
some of the folks who had come in to join us. So continue your story.
Thank you guys for joining us. So what happens is I'm now going to, like I said, all these classes. Every free class, I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in it. My life now is all about getting as much knowledge as I could for this 3-month journey that was about to take place in Africa. So then something else special happens. I get a phone call in August, and it's an old client. For those that don't know, I'm an interior designer as well. And
Of course you
so
are.
my client calls me and says, Ron, are you available to help us with designing our youth center? And I said, of course. And they were like, we finally got the approval by the architects. The building is approved. We're going to redo the building, and we need your expertise. And I said, wow, that sounds fun. I had already designed this church. This client is a church in Jersey. And I had an opportunity to design their sanctuary, their the nursery, the kids room, all the different spaces that they had. I was able to design for them. So this opportunity came along to design their youth center, which I don't know if you know, you know where I'm going with this. That is called cha-ching.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
called cha-ching.
Wait, was this private or was this city?
This was private. It was a
Okay.
church in Jersey. So
Oh, church. Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah, so it was a church. And I designed, so I started working on the project, started doing the things, you know how we do as interior designers. And so I end up at the end of the project having the $10,000, really, and more for the trip. For the trip. So not only did I have the extra money from the refi, but I also had the extra money from this project that came literally out of nowhere. But we know it was never, I always believe in that when you are walking in your divine path, when you're walking in your purpose, everything is provided for you. Everything is provided for you. And so that was in August, and I finished the project December 8th. December
Wow.
8th, they hand me my last check, and I get on a plane and I leave for Africa. And I landed in South Africa on December 12th. And it was absolutely the beginning of a new life. I ended up staying there until my party arrived. I was there early. And so I got to spend time. I had a driver. I was able to drive. I had the finance to do everything I needed to make this dream a reality. How this also happens because I wanted to capture photography for my clients for my interior design business. Thus, back here you see an elephant in the background.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so that's what I wanted to do. And but literally for 3 months, I did nothing but fly, ride, and snap for 3 months
Wow.
continuously, day and night. During that time, I was on
Wow.
the plane at least probably, I think I was on a plane at least 12 times in that time. Maybe it may have been 18 times, back and forth, flying from country to country, flying to safari, in Range Rovers, in the bush. That was my life for 3 months, going from place to place, hiking the oldest, greatest dunes in the world, in Namibia, and just meeting amazing people from all
Mm.
over Africa, from the southern region of Africa, and it
Wow.
totally changed my life. And
Wow.
that's how I became, and there now at this point I'm like, okay, I'm in there. And my mentor, who I decided to talk to before I left to go do this journey, I didn't just hop up and leave my job, just so you know. What I did was I have a circle of friends. I call my panel, my board, and I went and got consultation from each one of them. Say, is
Mm.
this something I should be doing? Have I lost my mind? Am I crazy? Have I lost my mind? And each one was like, Ron, this sounds divine. This sounds like you are where you belong, and
Mm.
do this. And it was like every person. So, and I went to pretty much like eight of my best friends, that weren't yes men, people that were just invested in me as a person.
Right.
And they were all approval. They all gave me the approval. And then next thing you know, here I am. Then opportunity opened up when I got back, came back home. I ended up, when I say this, just roaming the streets of New York, photographing it, when I arrived back. But then my mentor said, Ron, I think you should start submitting your work, because your work is beautiful to start submitting. I mean, get beyond Instagram, start submitting your work. And I just happened to be part of the National Geographic, what we call community. And they had a article that they were creating. It was called Pops of Color.
Mm.
And and I said, wait a minute. 2 weeks ago, I just took a picture of a cat coming out of St. Patrick's Cathedral. Beautiful green eyes, wearing a beautiful green sweater. Little
A
did I
cat.
know of a cat,
He's wearing a green
Egyptian,
sweater coming out of.
coming
Wow.
out of St. Patrick's Cathedral on Easter Sunday. And so I take the photo. I see the cat comes out the church on the shoulder. Everything was perfect. It was a perfect day. I ran to take this photo. I knew it was going to be a great shot, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then 2 weeks later, my mentor says, you need to submit your work. And so I submitted to this article for National Geographic. And then the editor calls me.
Wow.
Sends me an email. And I said, I got an email from the editor from National Geographic. It's called this division called Your Shot. And
Wow.
they're like, we love your photo of the cat. The cat is beautiful. La 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 la. However, there are more people that we want to go through their photos, but you are in the last. You're in the last pool of people that we think to be in the article.
Wow.
3 days later, the editor sends me an email. Congratulations. You are one of 30 people. Your photo is in the article of Pops for Color. Pops of Color.
Wow. Wow.
I was like a school
Amazing.
kid running around the house. I have a photo in National Geographic, and
Yes.
it really changed the way I even, you're first of all, I thought one of my photos from Africa would be in National Geographic, not a cat coming out of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City.
That
And
could be
then
it, right? That it was so unexpected,
it
even
was
though that was the thing.
totally unexpected. I would have never, I
Wow.
could have never planned this, this opportunity, because for now, forever, I can always say National Geographic published photographer. That was like,
Exactly.
not a National Geographic photographer. That's something totally different. But a National Geographic published photographer. And that photo made it in. It was 15,000 submissions.
Whew.
15,000 submissions. And I was one of 30. And I was
Wow.
blown away. And then just again, my whole life has been this way. It's been one open door. And that's not to say hasn't been hurdles. It hasn't been hard. It hasn't been tough. It hasn't been, obstacles. But for the core of this journey is one door after another door, after another door.
Mm.
And then it's just recently, in 2021, there's a big eruption happening on the Icelandic Peninsula. And the volcano erupts after 800 years. And I love Iceland. I've been to Iceland before. And so I call up my buddy and say to him,
let's do this.
yes.
I love this story. Put it on ice, since we're talking about Iceland for a minute. Let's put this on ice. We're going to come back to it as soon as, because I want to get in this question, a couple of questions from the audience, and I know they've been itching to ask, as much as enamored as we are by this. So hold on a minute. DS has the question. Hold on, I just had it. Where are you? Okay, so we'll go backwards, but he asked you, among the photography gear that you've purchased, is there something you wish you hadn't bought, and why?
Oh, there's a lot of equipment that you purchase and you say, why did I buy this? There's been lenses that I bought that I was like, I probably didn't need that lens. Let's see. Books that I may have bought that I thought was going to give me the information that I needed to start my photography journey that was really not needed for me. But gear, most of my gear, I've been really fortunate to have some really cool people. I shop. I mean, not to give any. This is not a PR move, but Adorama, I became very acquainted with everyone that worked there, and so there were certain salespeople at that store that were very educational on what I needed for this journey. And I would always tell them exactly what I needed and meaning what I was going to do. And because I was very transparent with them, as in, I'm going this place, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going that place, I'm going to do this, they really tailored my decisions on the equipment I purchased. So, as in the hardcore camera equipment, I would say the only thing I may have done differently is when I got my first full frame camera in this journey, I may have invested in another real good full frame camera.
Mm.
And I would have had two great because my mentor sold me his. So I had one beautiful, strong Nikon camera that was made for endurance and durability. But I did have another full frame that had just came out on the market for beginners. I took a lot of great photos with it, but I wish if I would have known my journey, I would have invested more in a better another number two a number two camera that was just as good as my number one. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, it's the same thing with film and with video. You get enamored sometimes by those pretty shiny things, and they and all these things come out, and because the same now DSLRs and mirrorless
now it's all about
cameras.
now it's all about the mirrorless, which is a godsend.
And this is what I'm using right now. My camera right now for this is a mirrorless. It's lighter. It runs longer. The battery life is longer. It's just so much better. But every 5 minutes, either Canon or Panasonic,
there's always
they're
a
all
new
coming
gear.
out with
There's
new
always
things.
new gear.
So you can't get caught up by the pretty shiny things or caught up in them, because you will spend all your money, and you have to go with what works for you. Definitely.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel you. That's why sometimes it's good not to have such a big budget, because then you really focus on what you need. Exactly.
And I always obviously I have my touch base daily, and but I also do a photographers meetup every fourth Saturday at 2:00 in different locations in New York City. And one of the things I'm always stressing with a lot of the new members that are like new photographers and they want to learn photography, I said, don't get so caught up in the gear, because I want you to think about this, is that yes, we have the shiny new objects today, all the most amazing technology. But guess what? They've been taking great photos way before these technologies came aboard.
Exactly.
Think about Ansel Adams. Think about all the, Gordon Parks. Think about all these photographers that only have film, or maybe they were on the cut just the beginning of the digital age. And look at all the billboards, all the Ralph Lauren, all the campaigns, all the model cover, all the Sports Illustrated. Those are all taken with old cameras that we would, but guess what? Those cameras still work today to take great photos. Just my thoughts.
They do. Wow. And those are great thoughts. So let's get to some others, because I still want to go back to Iceland. It's just on ice right now.
Yeah, Iceland has a pin in it. We put a pin in it.
We put a pin in it for now. So we have, let me say hello to Shelly Shell. She's over on the Twitch side. So hello, Shelly Shell. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. I have some photos that I picked out from you that I want to show. But before this, let's get to another question. DS also asked, what is your favorite photograph that you've taken and why?
Oh, I have several. One is the elephant that was behind me. I took a photo of a young girl in Ghana, and she stands at this window looking out into the light, because that's how I was able to photograph it. It was my first photo that I thought, this possibly could go to National Geographic if it had the opportunity. But not only that, it was a moment of being in the slave castle in
Mm.
Ghana, and I'm in what's called the governor's quarters, and I'm standing there, and this young girl runs into the room, runs to the window, stands in the center of the window, perfectly framed, and in a minute, she's only there for a minute, if that much. She stands there, she looks, I immediately take out my smartphone and I take it, frame it, and photograph it in the minute. And then she
Mm.
runs off. Just
And
like
you
that.
probably wouldn't have been able to do that if you were fumbling with your
My
DSLR,
yeah, if I would have had
your
my
camera.
yeah, but I have my I had, like I said, I began this journey as I perfected my smartphone photography,
Yeah.
meaning that when I went to Europe, when I went to different places, that's all I used was my smartphone before I invested into a camera.
Mm.
So, yeah, it was interesting that one moment, interesting enough that smartphone also had enough megapixels that I could frame this photo. This photo sits over in the corner, well, in the back here, and it's about, I guess, about 16 by 20, maybe about, yeah, about that big. It's a really nice print. That was my aha moment. That was where I said, I could do this. I could do this, and it opened the door to my journey to other places in Africa, Nigeria, all the different places, to take more photos.
Wow. Well, which brings us to another question from Serena. What country would you like to go to next?
I am, for my 60th birthday, which is coming up in February of 2024. I
Wow.
am trying to go to Morocco and trying to do Egypt. That is what I want to do. So I'm kind of like pacing myself financially this year so I can
Yeah.
do those things next year.
Wow. Very cool. Ironically, my cousin is half Moroccan and half Nigerian. So
I
interesting. Yeah.
It's Morocco well, like I said, I'm an interior designer also. So Morocco is like the mecca for interior designers, and it is also a mecca for photographers because of the colors. There's so much color.
The
There's so much
colors.
culture. There's so It's just so much to photograph. It's like when I go to Paris. I always tell people,
Mm.
you could be the I want to say the worst. You could be really the worst photographer, and take a great
Very
shot in
adept.
Paris.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Paris is one of those places you just turn, click, turn, click, turn, click. Morocco is on that level of
Mm.
you just turn and click. It's a matter of what story you want to tell.
Wow. Wow. And let's see, Terry Nixon is enamored. She's saying wow, just like Serena Wills. And Serena actually no, it's DS has a question.
Hmm.
Here we go. What is the best advice that you've ever received concerning your journey or photography?
The best advice was from my mentor. Now, my mentor is one of my best friends. He's been in the photography game for 30, 30 years, almost, or really technically 40 years. And when we were young adults, we were like 20 years old, 20 years old. He used to roam around everywhere in the city with this camera. And I was like, I would have never known that I would become a photographer, because I used to
Wow.
tease him about trailing everywhere. He and his brother with these cameras. But he gave me two bits of advice when I first started this journey. And he flew in from Dallas, came to New York. We sat down at the diner and we are just talking about this journey. And he says, Ron, advice number one, be you. Be you. See the world through your eyes. Don't judge your work. Don't judge your photography based on the person next to you, left or right.
Mm,
Your journey is your journey.
mm,
Don't judge your work by others. You are who you are. You see the world according to the eyes that God is giving you. Photograph using your eyes. Be you. That was number one. Number two, don't be afraid to diversify. Don't be afraid to do what you love. Don't be like other photographers that just do weddings, that just do landscapes, that just do street. Do whatever you want to do.
mm,
Just do it. And he says, and in the long run, you will not burn out because
mm,
all of us in the photography industry burn out. But here's my rule so you don't burn out: diversity. So
mm.
when you get tired of photographing the street, switch. Go on a trip and do landscapes. You already going to Africa, do that. And when you're tired of wildlife and being in the jungle, being in the safari, what we call the bush, then do fashion for Fashion Week. Just
Mm.
keep it fresh. Because also you'll be sharpening your skills. Because for every genre of photography is a whole nother concept of shooting. You're using another part of your brain, another part of how you see a particular situation. When I'm in street photography, when I did the Black Lives Matter protest, and I did a major contributions to certain entities here in the city. I really got out there. I had never done really street photography, but I was emotionally moved by the George Floyd murder and how everyone started to get involved. And I was just like, wow, I got to be there. I got to capture this moment. This is history. But again, every genre will teach you how to see the world differently.
Mm. Mm. And I thought I had the BLM. I took from your account a BLM
Hmm.
photo, and I don't see it here. But if I can pull it up, I will. But
Okay.
I wanted to kind of go through some of your photos. If we could have the first one, please, MC.
Ah,
Okay. I saw this and I fell in love with the lines, with the angles, with the shadows, and I knew right away this is Dubai, is it not?
yes, it is. It is
Is
the
this the
Caliph.
Burj Khalifa? Okay.
Yes, it is. Downstairs, when you come out the entrance on the lower level, um, you see all of these amazing architectural lines. And like you said, the shadows, the leading lines, the flow, the curvature. This is one of those. I was just like, I gotta take a shot. I gotta take this photo. My friends were like, "Come on, let's go." And I was like, "Not now. No, I gotta shoot." And that was one of those moments. Yes, in
Wow.
Dubai, downstairs, side entrance. And what happened to tell you, um, this I came out the side entrance because I had left something upstairs, and so one of the security guards gave me put me on what's called the express elevator by ourselves. And we went upstairs to get it and come back, and we came back down. And so he let me out on the side entrance versus where the tourists were. So
Mm.
that's how I was able to capture these angles.
Absolutely stunning. Wow. And DS says that the architecture in Dubai is amazing. Look,
Absolutely.
when you look at Dubai, and I have not been yet, that is on my list to go. But when you look at Dubai and you look at the architecture, sometimes you look at you, and this is modern architecture. Then you look at us and you're like, you're just not trying, US, are you? You just gave it up.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
Dubai is one of those places that you just and also Doha. I ended up in that whole 3 month trip that I was doing in Africa. I spent time in the Middle East as well, and so that's when I was able to do these photos in Doha and Dubai.
Wow. And you know what? I thought I had a photo from Doha too, but apparently I don't. But I saw that one because I was going to juxtapose it against this one from Dubai. But very interesting. Could I have the next one, MC?
Yes, London. I am. I love so many places in the world, but one of my favorite places, as in history, is to go to the UK. The UK offers so much history, obviously, because colonization is one of the things that they were good at. So
Oh, they
we're all
mastered that.
connected to the UK on some level. But
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated with the UK, and this was the what they call the changing of the guard
Yeah.
at one of the castles, and I was able to photograph this event when it was happening in roughly this was in 2018.
Fantastic. Next one, please. And as we're waiting, hello to Jasmine Graham. Okay, go ahead.
This photo, New York City, we have all kinds of events, and this one was called Curl Fest. And it was
Huh.
at Prospect Park. It was I don't even know if they do it any longer, but they used to gather in different locations in New York City, and this was Curl Fest, and they had women and men. They come out looking their best, but the women come out looking their best. And I saw this beautiful woman right here, and the way she was dressed, the circles, the rings around her neck, the rings around her head, her earrings, and a ring in her nose. And I said, this woman meant business when she left the house this morning. She was not coming to play. She came to look her best. And I went up to her and said, "May I photograph you?" And she said, "Absolutely." And I was able to take this portrait of her.
Hmm. And the thing is, people who dress like this, it's intentional but unintentional. This is just what they do. They wake
Yes.
up in the morning, and this is just because you have to have some sense of effortless style if you choose to put this on, if this
Yes.
is what you have in your closet. So I saw this and I absolutely love it. And also just looking at, even though the background is a soft focus or a shallow depth of field, how the pink in her outfit plays off of that burgundy or the
Yes,
cranberry
you see
of
that.
the
See? Yep,
yeah,
you're a film
yeah.
person. That's why.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Yes,
Next
and
one,
you see
please, MC.
also,
Oh, sorry.
and I mean, you not only that, but you also see the gold in her, in all her jewelry, which also plays
Yes.
off the yellow dress in the
The yellow
background.
dress. Yes, exactly. Exactly. This is stunning. And could I have the next one, please? And I think this is something that is near and dear to every New Yorker. Tell us about this.
The bridges of New York City, and this is the Manhattan Bridge. Most people are drawn to the Brooklyn Bridge. I love the Brooklyn Bridge, but I am all I am more drawn architecturally to the Manhattan Bridge. And the Manhattan Bridge has this mixture of Art Deco, industrial period, structure, and the lines, the curves, and this was a particular night after a thunderstorm in New York City. I'm in Dumbo. I grab my gear and say I'm going to take some photos this evening. So I hop on a bike and ride down, and the water was like glass. The water was so calm, and it made for a great picture.
This is stunning. Now, do you have prints available of this?
This print, I do believe, yeah, this one I do believe is in my store. If you go to
Okay.
ronlewisphotos.com/store.
Hint, hint, you all.
There's a whole bunch of photos there.
We let's do one more. Let's
Yes.
hold on just a minute. Could I go to the MC the Animal? Tell us about
Well,
this one.
this one is one of my favorite shots. I was on safari. It was one evening in northern South Africa, just on the edges of Kruger National Park. And we go out, and there's these two leopards. One hasn't been seen yet. That is like roaming. We could just hear her. And this guy is just kind of like waiting for his mate, for them to mate. And so
Mm.
we're there, and what happens is, we're photographing, because people don't, you may not know, in wildlife photography, most of your time is spent waiting. So you're just sitting and waiting for the scene to come together. Got lucky. This is where I always say skill meets luck. And the sun was setting. So we got these beautiful rays from the sun, the yellow sunlight as the sun was setting. And he perked up and kind of like gave that interesting glance. And while he's waiting for his mate, he hears her, and his eyes are just kind of like focused and just waiting. And I was able to snap the shot.
Wow, wow. And DS says, wow, the sunlight makes this one.
Yes, it's the sunlight. It's all about the sunlight.
And he also asks if you like rain photography because rain adds ambiance.
As a matter of fact, I do. I just took our meetup group Saturday, spent time in Soho. If you go to my meetup page, and you can just go, if you ever go to my Instagram page, you can click on my link tree, has all of my information on every place I'm at on media. But my meetup group, we met in the rain. I was telling them, these are the best days. Rainy days are the best days for photography. I mean, yeah, it's a whole different type of photography, because again, like you just said, it's about the ambiance. It's the reflection of the light on the ground. It's the raindrops pouring down. It's the I'm gonna say, it's the lighting. It's the darkness of the sky, which makes all of the beautiful ambient light shine from all the stores or from the buildings. If you get lucky, you get some fog, and the fog just makes it more dramatic. Yeah, I love a good rainy night, or like say rainy afternoon, or rainy evening leading into the evening, like the dark
Mm.
part of the evening.
So, as we said, if you go to his at Ron Lewis Photos on Instagram, that takes you to his link tree in his bio, and you can see he has a wonderful link tree. You can connect to his store to buy prints if you would like. You can see past episodes of Touch Base Daily. You can see now. This is as we get ready to go.
Yes.
Two things to finish telling us about Iceland, and then tell us about the most recent thing that you did with your cousin, which was the experience that you did in New York City.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So Iceland, and I'm gonna be quick about this, but so my buddy, there's earthquakes happening in Iceland. They had about, I think it was roughly something like 10. I want to say there was about 7,000 earthquakes that happened in Iceland leading to this eruption. So I called my tour guide, I mean, the person that took me hiking. We became friends. And I said, hey, what's going on? Are you guys okay? Just checking in on you. Blah, 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 blah. He says, yeah, we're good. We're fine. We're waiting for an eruption to happen. I said, what kind of eruption? He was like, yeah, we're on the peninsula. There's going to be this earth, these earthquakes are leading to this eruption that's forecast. I was like, really? I said, oh, great. Let me know. Anyway, long story short, the eruption happens in March 22nd or March. I think it was, sorry, March 26th or 27th, somewhere around there. Like, we just got past the anniversary. I said, something says in me, you must go. You must go. Now, so I call him out. I said, hey, when are they gonna? How can I get to Iceland? He said, well, you can't get in now because it's COVID, so no one's allowed into the country. I said, well, I need to know when it opens up. He lets me know we're open. This is in May. I was one of the first Americans in Iceland to see the eruption. They were filming, Icelandic people were filming it for like 2 months because April and then May. So I get there to photograph. Something tells me, go and buy a new equipment. So I bought a new camera. I was like, something big is going to happen from this. I just knew it intuitively. Anyway, I get there, get on a plane. I assemble my team. I grabbed 3 people from my circle, and they became my team. They were my drivers. They were there for me, and we land in Iceland. Well, before we get there, one of my friends and team members gets stuck. She can't get on the plane because her COVID card, it doesn't match. It's not right. And so this woman interjects. She's talking to my other 2 people that, friends that are there, and starts the conversation. And they were like, oh, we're here with the, one of my team members was my cousin. He said, oh, I'm with my cousin. He's photographing the eruption. And that was it. And they just said, oh, wow, that's amazing. He's a photographer. So that was it. So the next thing you know, we land in Iceland. We get to Iceland, and we're waiting for our COVID test. We had a COVID test, and we're waiting. And I said, you know what? Let me take you guys hiking. It's because I know Iceland. I've been there, before. And I said, let me take you guys hiking. So we go to the hiking trail. We go to the hiking place. We walk there. We drive in, park the car, and guess who's coming out? The woman that was on the plane. The woman that was on the plane walks over, and they're like, hey, Heidi, how you doing, Heidi? And I was like, wait a minute, how do you know this woman? How do you know her? This is your first time in Iceland. And they were like, oh, we met her on the plane. And so she says, oh, you're the photographer. She sees me with all my gear. And she says, oh, you're the photographer. I need a photographer like yesterday. And I said, and I said, what do you do? She goes, I'm a writer. I said, I need a writer like yesterday. I said, oh, this is amazing. What are you here for? I said, I'm going to be photographing the volcano. She says, I'm here to write about the volcano. I said, who are you writing for? She goes, I write for the New Yorker. And I said, really? I said, well, she says, can we exchange information? I said, absolutely. The next thing you know, we kept running into each other in town in Reykjavik. Little did I know, the New Yorker calls me. And they say, Heidi recommended that we use your photos for her article.
Wow.
So in 2021, in the August edition, August 23rd of 2021, my photo is used for the article for the story on the volcano. So that's how I also became a New Yorker published photographer.
Wow.
So
wow.
It's about, and now I pray, I meditate, I spend quiet time. And I do a lot of quiet time through my walks, through my cycling or whatever. And I just try to stay in tune, because obviously staying in tune has been the assets. Because I could have never, because me as a photographer, we take photos and then we pitch them to magazines. Here was the woman right there that was writing an article. We became friends, connected, and then the photo was published. So.
Wow. Well, this shows that this is what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
They did not appreciate you at your other job because you weren't in your purpose.
So
they were going to mistreat you. And that's usually what happens. They don't appreciate what they have. A lot of workplaces don't do that. So I'm glad that you've come to a place where you are appreciated and loved, because we love and appreciate you. And there's so much more that I wanted to ask, and there's so many other things I wanted to discuss. We're gonna have to do a part 2, because there's more. So if you're game, I would love to have you back.
I would love
to.
I am honored to be here. I would love to share. I love sharing the journey, because it's one of those things it makes you wake up in the morning and just live in gratitude. You live in gratitude because I could not in myself make this all up or create it. Every step was ordained, divinely created, crafted, the universe working on my behalf. And I just simply say yes. So,
Wow. So simply saying yes.
yes.
In fact, say yes to an autobiography because DS says that it should be called Wow, and I
Wow.
agree. And Jasmine says that your lighting is on point. It's very photographer. Your lighting right now, very photographic.
Thank you.
Wow, wow. So, if people wanted to reach you, how can they? I already gave some of it, but are there other ways you would like for them to reach out to you?
The best way is Instagram. I mean,
Okay.
I live on Instagram obviously every day.
Oh,
LinkedIn
yes,
is my
yes, yes,
other
yes. So, tell them
common
also
place.
about the show, The Daily Show.
Oh yeah, so my daily show, I started my daily show as a little bit more of a I was just trying to get used to being on camera because I was terrified of doing video. So for my birthday last year, not this year, but last year, I said I'm going to go. I made a commitment to myself to go online every day and at 11:15, no matter what, to just talk about whatever. It evolved and became what's called Touch Base Daily. And now I come on every day because one, there's an audience. It was when I used to come on, it was just me and two other people. And now it's an audience at any given moment when I'm on, it's between 25 and 40 people. Sometimes it goes up to, depending on the guest. And so now it's evolved. And so now every week I have at least one or two guests on to celebrate other photographers. I feel like my job is not only just for myself as a photographer, but to share the light on other photographers. And so during the week, like today, I shared, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see my Touch Base Daily. And I shared about a photographer here in New York City that I crossed paths with. And so the show has evolved and it continues to evolve. But I'm there 11:15 every day on Instagram, except for Sunday. But yeah, it's a great place to be. A great audience has been formed, a great community. Even I even create a Patreon from it, so that people can support my work. And so a lot of people that have joined the community on Instagram have also joined my Patreon community, which finance what I do in this creative space, because doing business and being a creative are two different things. So I had to find a way to finance my creativity, being a creative, being on Instagram, being on a platform every day. I had two exhibitions last year at two art galleries here in New York City. I had an exhibition at my cousin's event that happened at the CEE, the Chad Elliott Experience. For those that know, Chad is a producer from hip hop. He's produced every one of the top hip hop artists. He's good friends with all these D Nice and all these folks. And so I came to a lot of the people in my community through the D Nice community because they were through my cousin's community on the Chad Elliott Experience. And I had the opportunity to photograph his first gathering about 2 weeks ago, two Sundays ago. And it was absolutely wonderful to be able to do that. And yeah, so you can follow me, go on to my link tree. It'll lead you to my Patreon if you want to invest in me. I always tell my people that I will never allow you to outgive me. So what I do is once a month in my Patreon community, I teach photography. So each month on the third week, all the Patreon community comes together and I teach them for free. And we get together in a different subject. And that's how I give back. And then every quarter, I give a photo, a free download, so that people can, download it, print it, and then put it in a frame and put it on their wall. So yeah, that's what I'm about. I'm about giving. It's all about
Mm.
I try to keep giving.
Mm. And give you due and thank you for giving to us today. This was almost spiritual. Thank you so much. Not even almost, it was. It
Yes.
was. Thank you so much. We're looking for, well, I look forward to being with you every day at 11:15 a.m. We're looking forward to having you back, and we thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, audience. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for participating. This was wonderful. Great experience. Dr. Tachi became my fan the moment I saw her on the screen. I was like, who is this woman? And we connected instantly. I
Yes.
mean, she's
Yes.
like, can I give you a call? We ended up talking for a long time on the
We
phone.
did.
We would just, it was like two friends getting together. Yeah, so this has been an absolutely amazing opportunity to spend time with you guys. I love I just love sharing. So again, if I can help you in any way, feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me. I am always here to help.
Thank you. And Sue, you can see all the people that are thanking you. Susan Engel says, so much info, wealth, sir. Thank you. Terry Nixon says, great show. And DS says, thank you to all of us for a great stream. And MC, you want to come on before we vamos?
Wow, wow, wow.
Wow,
What's up,
right?
MC?
What's going on, man? Yeah, absolutely amazing story, man. I didn't even have any questions. I was just kind of back
And
by the storytelling.
that's a first because usually he's always has something to say, but the fact that he had nothing to say, he was enamored.
Yeah, great
So
stuff, man. Great stuff.
absolutely. So we're going to head out. Stay here, Ron, and
Okay.
before yeah, don't sign off before we go. So we're going to sign off though from you guys the way we always do. Thank you again. Thank you, Serena and the MediaScope food truck, for keeping us hydrated during this and fed during this wonderful stream. And yeah, that's it. We will be back next week. We may or may not have a guest. I'll let you know. But until then, I love you for watching. I bid you adieu. You guys, myself, Ron, and MC Curtis. Let's all get on screen, MC. Great. Okay, we're all going to exit. Stage left. I'll see you later, guys. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same news, no channel to use.